Hi, everybody. My name is Sabrina Tharani, and I am the Director of Partnerships at Mastercard. I'm on our venture team, where we look after startup engagement, so really helping startups from all over the world plug into Mastercard's technology for a chance to have their ideas scaled and to work with us on a global level. And we do it all equity-free. So I'm here today to talk to you about something that's really exciting to us, and it's the power of collaboration between companies of all sizes. If I could just get my slides. So we all kind of know this narrative now. We've got the guys in suits who are, from the Mastercards of the world, really corporate, holding on to traditional business models and methods. And then we've got the guys in hoodies who are just focused on disintermediating every old regime. I've personally sat on both sides, and I'm here to tell you that I really believe that innovation is going to come from the intersection of these ideologies. That when the old and the new can partner, the legacy and the agile come together and truly partner, amazing things can happen. I'm also standing here as a precursor to a session that we're having later this afternoon, which we just heard about, the Female Founders Pitch Competition, because I've learned that it's not just about collaboration and partnership, but it's about enabling diverse founding teams, and it's really important to Mastercard to make sure that we're enabling gender-balanced teams. So just to take a look at kind of where we are today, so technology has taken over every single industry. If you look at about, over 10 years ago, only 1 out of the top 5 publicly traded companies was considered a technology company. This was, of course, Microsoft. But if you fast forward to today, 2016 and 2018, all 5 are considered tech companies. This is really exciting, but something that we should know is not going to change again in the future. And this is driving proliferation of devices and technologies like we've never seen before. So we have smart TVs and smart homes and smart cars and Fitbits and smart mirrors and retail locations. We're expected to have 50 billion connected devices by 2020, and this is driving advancement of technologies like we've never seen before. Adoption of these technologies is also faster than we've ever seen. So if you look at Facebook, for example, in their first 4 years from launch, day 1 to first 4 years in, they earned about 140 million accounts, which was astonishing viral growth by any account. But if you look at that same time period, the first 4 years since launch for WhatsApp, they got over 400 million users. This is changing every industry, and is true of many different types of tech. So if you look at my industry, financial technologies, where we've generally lagged consumer tech adoption, Venmo has 10 million monthly active users. Coinbase has 20 million, and Ant Financial is the 10th most valuable financial services firm in the world. So why do we still talk about founders like garage tech founders? This is hardly what entrepreneurship looks like today. Founders are more resourced than ever before. They have co-working spaces. Technology and hosting costs are lower than they've ever been before. And there's a massive emerging workforce that's more eager to work at a Series A startup than at a bank. So how in this world can companies compete? How can the traditional corporate players like Mastercard continue to innovate and make sure that we're on top of the new innovations that are coming to market? In a recent report by CB Insights, they found that 51% of executives still prefer to build technologies in-house rather than partner or buy with new incumbents, which makes them 3 times more likely to build than buy. The problem is most are terribly slow at it. In that same report, we found out that from an idea to a commercialized idea in market for a corporate, it takes between 12 and 24 months to get there. So innovation has to be accelerated. A new model of open innovation has to be created for companies. Corporate executives know that this is a problem. They want to partner with startups and with other players in the market, but they realize that there's challenges to this. There's challenges to diligence these companies, to onboard them with vendor processes that exist at large corporations, and then to make sure that these engagements work. But when it does work, it can be really powerful. So Lego Ideas, for instance, is one of the largest crowdsourcing platforms in the world. They have over 1 million users co-creating products with them today. One of my personal favorites, Johnny Walker Whiskey and Gleneagles Hotels came together because they figured out that people buy experiences, not products. And Mastercard and GM last year working together to build the connected car experience. So maybe sitting in this room of all of you amazing innovators, I'm probably preaching to the choir. You all know that partnership is important. The point that I'm trying to make is that it's not always easy. It's full of friction, especially with two very different types of companies, and it takes a calculated approach to be successful. So that's really why my team exists. At Mastercard, we were convinced that working with new entrants was critical to help us build the future of commerce. We know we can't do it alone. So we created my team, the StartPath team, which is a platform that's enabled us to work with over 180 startups over the last 5 years and stand up dozens and dozens of commercial pilots, programs, products all over the world. But when we break it down, we think that the equation for success is actually kind of simple. So we scour the globe first to find the absolute best later stage fintech startups that we can, and we bring them into our program where we give them really open access to all of our infrastructure and resources. We want them to be successful in working with us, and we do everything in our power to make sure that they are. Then, as a global network, we're very well plugged into all the banks, merchants, retailers, governments, digital players that Mastercard works with on a day-to-day basis. And they're coming to us with pain points. They're telling us specific areas of innovation that they're hoping to partner with, but that they can't build themselves. And so what we do is we have this matchmaking process where we pair startups that we know are solving specific challenges and pain points with the corporates that we're working with as well, and we're seeing really amazing, powerful things happen. One example of this is a portfolio company that we have today called DefineCrowd. Daniela from DefineCrowd, she's this female-founded CEO. DefineCrowd is a data platform that helps companies collect and structure training data for their AI and machine learning applications. Can't pretend to do her pitch justice on stage, but really an incredible company. We were hearing from our corporate partners all over the world that conversational commerce was something that they thought was going to be the future, but they didn't have the capabilities or the expertise to build conversational commerce tools in-house. And so we found Daniela, we brought her into our platform, we paired her with our R&D team, and with Mastercard, she's now built a chatbot and voice solution that we can scale to banks all over the world. So this mostly worked because of three things. When we think about driving pilots with companies, there's three key things that I hope everybody in this room can keep in mind as they consider their own types of collaborations. The first is desirability. Do people actually want this? We see about 1,600 applications for startups every single year, and I'm humbled every single day by the amazing applications and founders and tech that we're seeing, but I don't think there's a market for this. And so if there's not a market for potato messaging platforms, there might not be a market for every single AI application. It needs to be meaningful and have real purpose for your company. The next is feasibility. Will this work, and will this work at scale? So back to that initial narrative that I opened up with, corporates tend to be extremely risk-averse. They go to market when they have fully tested solutions that they can scale to all their customers on day one. Startups, on the other hand, fail fast, innovate on the fly. But for the advice to startups is you have to imbue a level of confidence to the corporate that you choose to work with, that you're going to be able to stand up a solution that won't break and will be able to scale to all of their customers. And then finally, commerciality. So will this make money for everybody in the equation? Startups are always at a risk when they're working with large corporates that they're going to expend development resources, their time, their people, to standing up pilots that might never actually come to fruition. Corporates have budgets for this type of thing, so there just needs to be an economic equation that works for everybody. And so at Mastercard, again, we truly do believe that collaboration can only take us so far, but we need to empower gender-balanced companies around the world. We find that gender-balanced companies actually outperform those with less diverse founding teams. So that's why we're hosting the Female Founder Pitch Competition later today. We're going to have several female founders up here with us to pitch their ideas for a chance at the StartPath program to have their technology scaled to our customers and partners around the world. So I'll leave you with just a few thoughts. Everybody knows how this narrative ends with Blockbuster. To the corporates in the room, I'm convinced that innovation is going to change more in the next 5 years than it has in the last 50, and you need to watch out for the traps. Partnering with startups is really one of the only ways forward. And for the startups in the room, it's not always going to be about disintermediating the big guys. They're new customer sets that you might not have ever imagined. They can bring you thousands of customers on day one. You just need to be patient and be prepared when you're thinking about working with corporates. So thank you all so much for your time, and I really hope to see you all back here later this afternoon.